And here we come to the question. Continuing with the NC Tech case study, we saw the pre-scene till now. Here we are going to do the question which appeared in the exam. So I am expecting that you all would be remembering the pre-scenes components and what information we dragged from the pre-scene. Here we'll concentrate upon the requirements of the question. Now let me first take a look at this paragraph and then we'll go ahead with the exhibits. This case study consists of 3 tasks, okay? NC Tech is a cloud service business based in Farland that provides an IaaS service model through the public cloud. So we saw this in the pre-scene also. NC Tech is seeking advice on a number of issues from Shellwood consultants. Okay, there have been some issues under NC Tech. They want an advice from some consultants, and these consultants are Shellwood consultants. You work for Shellwood consultants and you have been assigned to NC Tech. That means here you are going to be an advisor to NC Tech. It is currently December 2023, let's suppose. The following exhibits available on the left hand side of the screen provide information relevant to the case study. So these 4 are the exhibits. Exhibit 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhibit 1 relates to data breach investigation. An email from the chair of the risk committee summarizing the preliminary findings of the data breach investigation. So what happened? NC Tech witnessed a data breach during the year or maybe the previous year. The risk committee or maybe some more officials would have been assigned the task of investigating how this data breach could happen, right? Now the chairman of the risk committee, he is summarizing in an email whatever findings they could see related to the data breach in the investigation. So findings of the investigation they are giving in the email. Then exhibit 2 is about IT security. It's an extract from NC Tech's IT security manual. Okay. Exhibit 3 talks about talent management, an article from the Farland Business Review on talent management. Got it? Exhibit 4, board transcript, details of a board discussion around the recent client survey. So you remember we were discussing something related to client satisfaction there in the pre-scene. So seems something is there in exhibit 4 which we guessed in pre-scene. Okay, let's stop guessing now. Okay, pre-scene information which you have already used to familiarize yourself with NC Tech and the industry in which it operates is also available on the left hand side of the screen. We actually use this only. This information should be used to answer each task within your chosen response option. Chosen response option is either you are going to write the response in Word document, in a spreadsheet, or in slides, right? So you have to choose, you have to opt for any of these 3. Got it? We need to see the requirements. Let us first visit task 1. The chair of the risk committee has undertaken an investigation into a recent data breach at NC Tech and mailed his primary findings to the chief executive officer. Okay, who is writing the email? The chair of the risk committee. To whom is he writing the email? To the CEO. On what is the email? The email relates to an investigation which is done on a data breach which happened at NC Tech. They found something. So on the findings, they have sent this email to the CEO. The CEO is concerned that the resultant bad publicity could significantly harm NC Tech's relationship with its client base. Obviously, when you are running a cloud service business and a data security breach happens, it is a serious matter. It can actually impact NC Tech's relationship with its clients and may have a detrimental effect on its business performance going forward. Definitely, not at all a question. The CEO has provided you with a copy of the email and asked you for your assistance. Okay, assistance on what? Let us see. Part A, Write a memo to the CEO which evaluates the information from the chair of the risk committee, the possible impact on NC Tech's reputation, and recommends that NC Tech should take. Recommends actions that NC Tech should take. Too many things asked in a 14 marker question. The best part with SBL is they tell you which professional skill marks are they going to test. ACCA clarifies here. You have to show commercial acumen. You have to show commercial acumen, some business sense, some business knowledge by demonstrating awareness of how data breach could damage NC Tech's reputation. So here you have to be aware of the real situations of the business. You have to show some commercial sense and you have to demonstrate how data breach can actually damage the company's reputation. Got it? So professional skill marks are 4 marks here. Okay. Then there is something more to it. The recent security breach has forced the board to consider enhancements to the current IT security arrangements at NC Tech. Makes sense because obviously they'll be very doubtful on the IT security, because going forward, if anything like this happens again, definitely it will screw up the company. It will be a big challenge on the reputation of the company. You have been provided with the relevant extracts from NC Tech's current IT security manual and have been asked to evaluate it and recommend any further measures that will help to strengthen these existing controls and reduce the risk of a future data breach. As of now, what I can understand is this is a single part. Draft a briefing paper to the board that evaluates the 4 security layers in NC Tech's IT security, because IT security manual is there. That means they would be having some 4 security layers in IC Tech's IT security manual, and you need to recommend any further security controls need to be put in place. That means part number A restricts till here. Okay. That means we need to use Exhibit 1 to answer this. Now, when I was answering my SBL paper, I opted for one technique which really helped me out. The confusion comes up when you're writing answer is you may forget what was the requirement of the question. You may miss writing on something which was the main requirement in the task. To avoid leaving any critical thing to be answered, I took this, copied it, and took here on the Word document so that I could see the question in front of me. The CEO has provided you with a copy of email, asked for your assistance. Now this is the requirement and the professional skill marks are here. This is what I can see all the time, that what is the requirement of the question. Until and unless we meet that requirement, we will not be able to address it. Right? So let me first see the exhibit. Exhibit 1, findings on the data breach investigation. Okay, the email is written to the CEO. Who is writing it? The chairman of the risk committee. On 18th November 2023, let's suppose this is happening. Data breach at NC Tech Data Center. System breach. On 21st October, sensitive details belonging to several large clients was accessed by an unknown external party following a secret attack on our core systems. So it was not an attack on one client's data, it was on many clients actually. Okay, the data breach was identified by an internal security tool which alerted the data center staff that there had been an attempt to access the core client database and client servers. So somehow this is a good thing for us, no? Our system actually tried to, it highlighted that somebody is trying to access. I have just noted down this point because I found this to be critical. So in my exam also I did that. From the exhibits, whatever I found is important and must be used in creating the answer, I took it from the exhibit and copied it in my answer response sheet. Here also I'm doing that same. The internal security tool, it actually alerted the data center staff that an unauthorized attempt has been made to access the client database. That means their security system was fine. My investigations found that the firewall had not been operating fully since 10th July. Oh, this is a blunder. That means the firewall was inactive since July 10. You are on 21st October. You reached till here without a firewall? Okay. The unauthorized party means the hacker accessed and copied client data and then attempted to delete it from the database. However, no data was actually deleted, so the clients affected were unaware of the breach and continued to use NC Tech's servers and storage facilities. My God, this is serious. Actually, the hacker accessed the files. Just a second. Okay, now it is here. Next information which I found is critical. Let me do one thing. Rather than hopping around from one window to another, let me copy the whole exhibit here. Okay. I am copying it completely so that I can see the complete email's contents here. Okay. So here the firewall was not operating since 10th July. Serious issue. So I'll bold it. Then the unauthorized party accessed and copied the client data, then attempted to delete it. But the data actually was not deleted. That means the clients are unaware of the breach. This is another serious thing. The clients are unaware of the breach. This time, the hacker could not delete the files from the database. But if NC Tech do not do anything at this point of time, definitely next time, the hackers will be able to delete that data also. Okay. The data had likely to have included some commercially confidential information. If this is misused or shared by the hacker, it could expose those affected clients to significant financial losses and other commercial damage. It is vital that we are always honest with our clients. So, are you being honest here? Not at all. You didn't even tell the clients because, as of now, till date, whatever we can see here is the clients were not aware of this breach till whatever we are reading. But the email says that we should be honest with the clients. Should the security breach become public knowledge, it is likely to generate concern and anger and harm NC Tech's reputation. Definitely that will happen. Definitely. Therefore, we need to undertake further detailed investigations to determine exactly which clients were affected by the breach and to what extent they were exposed. So here what the risk committee's findings say, if we go and public this information that a security breach has happened, it will damage NC Tech's reputation badly. Definitely a correct thought. What the risk committee is recommending, the chair is recommending is we need to further investigate to determine which is the client or which all clients got affected and to what extent they got affected. Maybe the impact is very immaterial, but by making this information public, NC Tech creates problems for itself. Fair enough. Okay, let us see. Breach of trust. Now I'll have to open this exhibit. Breach of trust is another paragraph. Okay. Breach of trust. It's a next paragraph which is being explained like this. A related concern is that although NC Tech data center staff had actually identified the data breach, it had not been brought to the attention of senior management or even internally reported. What? It appears that the breach was rapidly and effectively closed without being properly investigated. This is serious. The data center staff, they did identify the breach but did not bring it to the attention of the senior management. There can be a chance that the people to whom they reported, they themselves are creating situations where the data breach can take place. Okay. It was only reported to the board following an internal audit of the data center. This is serious. They really didn't tell the senior management about any data breach. This data breach got to be known only when the internal audit happened. By failing to report this incident, there has been a serious breach of trust. Trust has always been a key feature of NC Tech business model and culture and is part of our core values. It is possible that similar data breaches have occurred in the past but have not been reported. Highlight this because definitely this is going to create suspicion in the minds of the people. NC Tech has been talking about uh, keeping ethics, then keeping a culture where if any incidents happens, it must be reported. Trust must be kept as a high priority item by the organization, by its people across the organization. And when a breach happens, nobody tells the senior management. It only comes into notice when an audit comes up. The audit finds it that a security breach has happened. I mean, this is very serious as of now. Those members of staff involved in the incident may need to be referred for disciplinary action. Absolutely. If you do not take action, then the next set of people may get motivated to hide things or any security lapses happening in the future. However, it is equally important to remind all staff of the importance of complying with NCTEC's internal procedures and practices to maintain the integrity of the systems and services which we provide to our clients. As of now, I found these three lines of no relevance. It's a general thing that you need to remind your staff that you are working for the clients and then you have to be responsible for the security of the data. That's fine. The facts which we need, we have taken under bold. To just summarize this, number one, the data breach happened on what date? It happened on 21st of October. Okay, I didn't know that. That's okay. Now, the breach was identified by the internal tools. Here. Okay, the breach was identified by an internal security tool. The firewall was inactive since 10th July. As of now, no data is actually deleted. And because of this, the clients are unaware of this breach, right? And the next paragraph talks about breach of trust, because in an organization, trust is the primary thing. You need to create that trust amongst the teams that whenever any breach happens, whenever anything needs attention of the senior management must be informed ASAP. So that trust comes in, that the people will tell the senior management if they are stuck with anything. So that breach of trust has already happened. Now, let me go back to the requirements of the question, what the requirement wants. Write a memo. That means I need to write a memo. I need to follow the memo's format. Let me start writing the answer from here. Answer, points to take care of. Memo format needs to be followed. What is the format of a memo? It does not start with any to, from, nothing like that. It's simply you give a briefing and then you start discussing. That's a memo. That's it. No to, from to be written, no date to be written, no subject to be written. That's it. So memo is simple type of a note which you are giving to the CEO. Always start with the case briefing. First thing would be the case briefing we'll tell about. What case briefing? What is the memo asked for? Who is asking for the memo? And on what areas we have to provide the memo? 1. The CEO wants to evaluate the information which has come from the chair of the risk committee to understand the impact on NCTEC's reputation and need recommendation of actions which NCTEC can take. The memo has to be on this. Correct? Let me break this up into two parts. This is the requirement. Ensure you are addressing the requirement. We are just creating an outline of the answer so that we do not miss on giving something which is the backbone of the answer here. Okay, now I'll request you all to start writing with me. Then only you will get to know how to address such type of case studies in the exam. Start writing with me. One, in the case briefing, you need to tell something about the background of what is happening here. Refer about the email which is written by the chair of the risk committee to the CEO. The email relates to what? The email relates to the investigation done on the data breach which recently happened in NC Tech. This is what you have to write. Email relates to what? Mail relates to, just give a brief. Give a reference to that the chairman has written an email highlighting the investigation done on a recent data breach. Now tell certain points here which you notice, which are not directly highlighted by the examiner, but the examiner wants you to note these points. What did you realize that the email is trying to point out? The email is divided into two sections. One is about this, that further detailed investigation must be done. That is one part. Number two, breach of trust. That's the second part. So the email written by the chair to the CEO is talking about two major problems which need addressal, right? Mention that in the case briefing. The email written by the chair related to the data breach. Which are the two matters? One, your reputation is at stake. Because if this breach gets to be known in the public, it will affect the clientele. It will affect NC Tech's reputation. Why am I talking about the reputation? Because your professional skill marks are going to be allocated for demonstrating awareness of how the data breach could damage NC Tech's reputation. That means we need to talk about NC Tech's reputation. Okay? So the first paragraph, these few lines, they were highlighting to go ahead on detailed investigation so that the reputation of NC Tech does not get damaged. So I'll mention it here also. Reputation if detailed investigation on the data breach is not made. Let me refine this sentence now. Just a second. Let me refine this sentence. On the background of this case briefing, we need to write that the email highlights a concern related to reputational damage to NC Tech's, reputation if the data breach if the information related to the data breach gets public. To avoid any such reputational and business damage to NC Tech, detailed investigation is essential. Okay, so this is Just trying to show that you need to give a case briefing before you are finally writing onto the memo. Okay. Now, let's hit the main requirement here. Write a memo to the CEO which evaluates the information from the chair of the risk committee. You are writing the memo for the CEO where you are evaluating the information which you got from the risk committee. That means evaluation of information has to come in the discussion. Evaluation of information given by the chair of the risk committee. One is this, which you have to do. One, you need to evaluate evaluation of information. 1, 2, possible impact on NCTEC's reputation. And 3, recommending actions that NCTEC should take. Now, if you see the number of marks here, the technical content is of 14 marks and 3 things are asked from you. They're asking you 3 things. For 14 marks, we should assign some marks for this particular 3 requirements. On evaluation of information, I will write worth 5 marks. On impact on reputation, again, I will write worth 5 marks. And on recommending actions, again, I'll write worth 5 marks. So approximately, I need to write the points explaining and giving insights to the examiner so that he can give me 5 marks or 4 marks in whatever I am writing. Right? That's the first thing you need to understand when you are writing answers to it. The first thing, evaluation of information given by the chair. Now let's start framing the answer finally. Okay. I'll create some bullets so that we can ensure that we are putting up at least these items in the answer. Evaluation of information given by the chair. That means here, whatever we had created in bold, that we need to use while writing the answer. When you are evaluating the information which is there in the email, it is talking about a data breach. You can give a heading of data breach. Now, your answer should revolve around 3-4 points here. For 5 marks, I'll try to take out 5 points here. Number 1, the data breach was identified by their internal security tool. Don't miss to highlight this because the examiner wants to see if you know the facts of the case, and you can put the facts of the case and connect with your own ideas also. Add on here, but still it failed in avoiding any data loss. Okay. I am just writing in bullet forms. You need to write in complete sentences. The data breach which happened in October or which happened on 21st October was identified by the internal security tool of NCTEC, but this internal security tool, even after identification, the IT controls failed in avoiding any data loss of clients. Okay, this is how you need to write your sentences and expand them. Okay, this is the first point which you need to mention. Okay, so this we have used. Alert was sent. Now, next important thing which we highlighted was the firewall was not operating since 10th July. Now, how do we put this in the answer? Another critical default in the internal or IT controls of NCTEC was the firewall not being operating since 10th July at its full capacity or not operating completely. Please do not copy and use the sentences as it is. You need to change the words and the sentences a bit, and then you need to add on some of your inferences or some of the interpretations which you conceive when you are reading the case. So here what we are trying to say is there was a critical default in the IT controls of NCTEC that the firewall which protects a business from many threats, that was not operating since 10th July. Okay, because of this firewall was not working, because of the absence or because of the weak firewall, the data breach could take place. Now, what additional we can add on here? The hacker, because of the firewall not working properly, the hacker could access and copy the client data with ease, right? It allowed the hacker to access and copy the client data without any trouble. That means I have now utilized these two sentences. Now I need to erase them. Then here something we highlighted was no data was actually deleted. But what will you analyze? What will you evaluate with this? Now here we need to show even if nothing was deleted, it does not mean in the future also it won't be deleted. This time it was copying the data of the client. Next time it can be deleting the data as well. Okay, so here what we will write, however, at the time of this breach, the client data could not get deleted by the hacker. But this poses a threat of deletion in the future. If deletion could not happen this time, it does not mean that the same cannot take place in the future. Or you can write, if the current systems are not improved or the current security is not improved, the deletion in the future can take place. Okay, so just mention this. So we have covered this point also. Now let us talk about clients being unaware of the breach. Let us take this to a more ethical angle. With cloud service businesses where clients store their confidential data with a belief that their data is safe and secure with the cloud service providers, not letting or not informing the client about the breach can break the mutual trust between NC Tech and the clients. Not informing the clients about the security data breach can lead to broken trust between NC Tech and its clients. Now you will have a question that if we go and tell them that such a security breach has happened, the reputational damage can arise. Definitely right about this. However, this is also critical to consider to what extent the reputational damage to NC Tech can happen because of sharing this information with the client. You are just trying to say that yes, reputational damage will arise, but ACCA wants you to work ethically. That means you need to tell this and focus more on being transparent rather than hiding things. They want to test you as a consultant here. What do you recommend? Do you recommend hiding the information because it is NC Tech's reputation at stake? Or will you still be honest and tell the clients that such a breach has happened and we are improving that nothing like this happens in the future again? This is what ACC wants to check. So do not miss on this point that you can hide this information from the clients. Do not do that at all. So clarify here, even if there will be some reputational damage to NC Tech if the information about data breach is not made public, let us do it, is shared with the clients, concerned clients. Still, it will foster better understanding and mutual trust between them if the clients are convinced, or if the clients are shown that the current systems are improved to ensure that no such breach takes place in the future. Okay, so that's the most important point here. Again, listen to what I'm saying. If you tell the examiner that yes, because if it is shared that the data breach happened, if it is shared with the client, there will be reputational damage to NC Tech. So it's better not to tell them. If this is the answer you are going to give, you are going to lose marks here. As a professional, you are expected to act ethically, right? What do ethics say in this place? Building mutual trust. There has been a data breach. Now, not telling to the client, this is unethical. Your clients ideally should know that something like this has happened. Now, how you can control the reputational damages? By ensuring, by briefing it to the clients that how you are creating better systems now so that such a breach does not happen. Just imagine if the clients get to know about the data breach from someone else. Now, will they trust you for any reason in the future? They won't. So just do highlight here that it's better to talk to the clients, let them know, inform them. Just because there is a risk of losing business, the client confidence will go off. Okay, so talk about the client confidence being built and do not worry on risk of business. Do not worry on that. Okay, so now here clearly the data hacked is very likely to have included some commercially confidential information. That means even if the data could not be deleted, still somebody has accessed commercially confidential information of the client. So mention it here. Even if the data of the clients was not deleted, still the hacker accessed commercially confidential information related to the clients. This leak of information could have resulted in significant financial losses to the client businesses, right? Okay, client businesses. Got it? So here we are clearly mentioning, this is the evaluation, specific evaluation, that even if the data was not deleted, still somebody accessed the critical confidential information of the clients. This could have resulted significant financial loss to the client businesses. Now use commercial acumen in answering here. The client, if could have faced significant loss, it could have led to legal proceedings against NC Tech also. So talk about legal case against NC Tech. This is using commercial acumen. This is where you are showing the examiner that you know if anything like this happens, what really or what commercially can be the consequence of it. The client would have dragged you into a legal case. So do mention this. Here, now next we talk about always being honest to your clients. Here we are dealing with it. Being honest with your clients means you need to share that a security breach has happened here. Even if it is likely to damage your reputation, still you need to build that customer confidence in you and your ethics. Okay. Now, the next part which we saw is taking further investigation. The question asked you recommended actions which NC Tech should take. We should take this paragraph under recommended actions. Recommended actions. Recommended actions. Okay. Further detailed investigation must be done, or detailed investigation to determine the clients affected and the extent or quantum of the damage of data lost or accessed. Okay. So this we will take under the recommended actions. So ideally what I'm doing is, from the exhibit, I'm taking the important parts and I'm trying to place those important parts with my discussion under these three heads. So one, we have seen the evaluation by data breach. We have evaluated it. Then this also happened that the trust may get broken if we do not tell this data breach to the clients that something like this has happened. That is an evaluation. Under recommendation, the first thing which I got is the detailed investigation to determine what led to this access and who all clients are there. And then under recommended actions, the next thing we should take is communicating with the clients. Communicating with the clients about the breach and how NC Tech will address and improve these systems, security systems, to ensure that no breach happens in the future. Okay, so that's the second recommended action. Now, in the email here, we were talking about breach of trust also, breach of trust within the organization. So here we need to talk about what? Evaluation of information. And then the reputation we have clubbed in between. So separately we could not do as a separate head and discussing 5 points on it. We have clubbed these two together. Now let us talk about the breach of trust matter. I'll take it as a separate heading. One is data breach. Then is breach of trust. Okay. I'm evaluating here this data breach. This is evaluation of information given by the chair. Okay. Now, breach of trust. Now, what is the chair saying here? Number one, your staff concealed about the breach. That is a serious trust violation, right? So talk about it first. That your staff didn't tell you about this. It has not been brought to the attention of the senior management. This is the point which we need to cover here. What will you write? When the breach occurred, the staff or the incidents was not brought to the attention of the senior management. Nobody from the department reported this data breach to the senior management at the time when it happened. Got it? So you need to explain this in other words. Let me write those other words for you. At the time when the data breach took place, the senior management or Okay, the senior management was not intimated by anyone from the department. Instead, the incidence was noticed at the time of an internal audit. Now tell, what is the impact of not sharing this with the senior management? This poses a serious threat to trust amongst the departments and levels across the whole organization. See, one department does not tell what is happening. If there is even something serious happening there, then it creates a wave of mistrust across the whole organization, because today one department is not telling about the incident, tomorrow some other department will not tell about some other incident to the management. So that's here that it poses a serious threat to trust among the departments and levels across the whole organization. That's the first thing. Now you're evaluating what the chair has written, right? Here it appears that the breach was rapidly and effectively closed without proper investigation, without being investigated. Here, what is happening now? How do we write it? Is not only this information was not escalated to the senior management, but it was closed without investigation also. That is another thing which you need to highlight in the memo. Not only the data breach was not reported to the senior management, but also it was closed rapidly without proper and detailed investigation. So in our recommendation, we are telling that this detailed investigation should be done. That is needed. Okay, so we have used this sentence also. Internal audit we have used. We have used this also. Serious breach of trust has already happened. Now, this is general thing that across the organization we have, NC Tech has always promoted the culture of trust amongst themselves. They consider trust building to be a part of their core values, that they are mentioning it here. But then under the breach of trust, in these actions, just suggest that an inquiry must be made why this was not reported. Okay, in the recommended actions, we can tell inquire as to why the data breach was not reported to the senior management. That means you are trying to find out why it was not escalated. Number one, that is the recommended action you need to take. Then try to understand or take necessary actions. To make people aware, people across the organization, they should be aware that the culture of the organization is building trust. It sticks to building trust amongst each other. They should not be worried on that a security breach has happened, that then anything is going to happen to their jobs. They should be comfortable while they report any incident. If there is a fear case in their minds that my job will be gone, then definitely they will keep on hiding these information from the senior management. So you need to take necessary actions to make people believe that trust is the core value of NC Tech. The employees or people across the organization must not feel scared of escalating matters. They must not feel scared of escalating matters with a fear of losing their jobs or getting blamed for any damage or any breach or security breach, any security breach. See, you need to refine the language here. You need to refine the sentence here that the employees across the organization, they should feel confident that they have to escalate the matters without the fear of losing their jobs or getting blamed if any security breach happens. These are the recommended actions which you need to tell to the examiner. Now, here, whatever we wrote to understand what to answer, that needs to be deleted. This is the memo format. Now, at the end, you can just give a small briefing here that the board can give a small culture briefing, or they can just issue a statement amongst the clients that a security breach has happened, and then they need to build that confidence in the clients by their actions rather than hiding things from the clients. So at the end, issuing a statement to foster confidence in the clients. To foster confidence in clients. How will you foster confidence in the clients? You will brief them that a data breach has happened and what they are doing to combat it. Okay, so that formal statement should go to the clients. A communication should be open for the clients to talk to you. This is how you will gain this is how you will gain marks in this 18 marker question. Okay, now let's take a small break and then let's get back to the next part, which is this draft a briefing paper. Okay, we'll do this, but before we do that, let me just copy this complete scenario to our word processor here. Okay, here we are. This is for part B, answer to part B. Okay. Now let us do this after a short break. Structure it a bit so that we can understand what exactly the question is trying to tell us. Here, and professional skill marks are. This is the question. Okay, so we'll get back to doing this part after a short break, maybe 10 minutes. Then we start back again. Okay. Okay, let's come back to part B. So part B, we had copied the question. The recent security breach has forced the board to consider enhancements to the current IT security arrangements at NC Tech. Yes, definitely, they should do some enhancement to the security arrangements. You have been provided with the relevant extracts from NC Tech's current IT security manual and have been asked to evaluate it. That means, again, you have to evaluate and recommend any measures that will help strengthen these existing controls. So ideally, as of now, what is happening is you need to evaluate the existing controls. Let me just copy to highlight the requirement. IT security, evaluate IT security controls. One is this. Number two, you have to recommend any measures to strengthen these controls and reduce the risk of. Okay, so two things you have to do. One, whatever is the IT security control, you have to evaluate. By evaluation means if they are effective or not effective. That is what you have to do, number one. Number two, if you can recommend any measure which makes these controls more effective, that is what you need to do. Okay, so here you have to give if these controls are effective, likely to be effective or not. This is the requirement. So till here I have covered it. Next, draft a briefing paper. So I need to give a briefing paper to the board that evaluates the 4 security layers in NC Tech's IT security manual. That means the manual is talking about some security layers. and recommends any further security control that should be put in place to minimize the risk of future data breach. So here evaluation should be of the 4 security layers. Evaluate the 4 security layers in IT security controls. Okay. Briefing paper you have to draft. Now this briefing paper has to be for 14 marks. Professional skill marks will be for analysis. What are you going to analyze? You have to analyze the IT security manual. Additional security controls you need to recommend. So what you are supposed to show here is that are you able to analyze if the security layers are fine, they will work well, what introduction of any further steps is needed there, what further measures can be given to those security controls. Until and unless you analyze the current situation, how will you get to know that what are the weaknesses in that situation, how that weakness can be corrected? So the professional skill which the question is trying to ask you to portray is analysis, so that you are analyzing the current systems and then recommending what improvements are needed. Okay, so we can erase this completely. 14 marks worth means I need to write at least for 7-8 areas. So we can say the 4 security layers I will discuss, that will be approximately of 8 marks. Discussing the 4 security layers, 2 marks each layer. That is 1 for 14 marks. Then it becomes 6 marks of technical discussion on recommending any measures to strengthen it. Okay. Let us start writing the answer. Now, as a habit, I'll open this exhibit and I'll copy the complete exhibit in my answer. So 4 layers of security they are saying. Oh God, this has just got crazy. Okay, let me just improve it a bit. Human layer, where is it? 1, human layer. Let me just. People, this NCT staff comes. See? Training. Second point, perimeter layer. The perimeter layer is here. Then the security controls applied at this layer is, the first bullet comes as all existing devices, a unique security key. See, in the exam, do not try to structure it like this. It will waste your time. I am doing this because we are practicing this paper with an unlimited time. But in the exam, you need to take care of the time involved. You can copy the matter to build your answer, but do not start structuring it, okay? Here is the security control and this is like this. We are done. Okay, now how do we write answer to it? Let us first see the 4 layers because we need to do analysis of these 4 layers only. NCTech applies 4 layers of IT security. One is the human layer. People, both internal and external to NCTech, present a significant risk to the integrity of our IaaS business model. NCTech staff should fully understand the complexity of the technology in use and how it can remain secure. Security controls applied at this layer. Robust access control procedures help to reduce the risk of security breach. Compulsory training ensures compliance with NCTech's standard operating procedures. Now, this is a manual of IT security, which is followed under NCTech's systems. They say that our IT security has got 4 layers. The first layer is a human layer where people, be it the employees or the external people of NCTech, They have to understand the technology. What is the manual saying? That there are access control procedures. You can consider these procedures to be passwords, or you can say that some systems require an eye retina to open up the laptop. Maybe you can say the laptop or systems do not open until and unless the retina screening doesn't happen, and then only access is given to the person who wants to open the laptop. It can be access control procedures, so they follow these access control procedures, robust access control procedures. Then they ensure that their people are properly trained to ensure that whatever is the operating procedure finalized by NC Tech, that is complied by the people. Then the second layer is the perimeter layer. The perimeter layer is the outer layer of the whole NC Tech system. The way we understand the terminology, mathematical terminology, perimeter, the same is being used here. There is an outer layer. It is the point where clients connect and gain access to their own data and applications. This layer includes all client devices which are connected to the NC Tech system. So this could potentially be the most vulnerable part of our system. That means it is the outer layer. Inside the layer are NC Tech's internal systems. Outside this perimeter layer, it's the client place. So the client is connecting with NC Tech's systems through this perimeter layer only. Now, what security controls are applied to this layer? All the external client devices need to be registered and authorized to gain access to the IaaS system. Here they are trying to tell you in the manual that this is the systems which we follow. When we are analyzing them, we need to see if these systems, robust control access and the trainings, will they really work in protecting the data of the clients? Number one. Number two, if any improvement can be made to it, you have to recommend that improvement also. Here, all external client devices need to be registered and then authorized to gain access on the IaaS system. That's fine, so that no fake client comes up and then gains access to the IaaS system. So the devices of the clients must be registered. This is to ensure that only recognized and trusted devices can cross the system perimeter. So consider it to be a circle. Inside the system, the data of the client is there. Outside the circle, the client systems are there. Now these client systems, maybe the laptops, they want to access some of the data which is there in the inside perimeter. Who can access that data? What is that device? So that device needs permission. That means the external devices must have that registration and authorization. Then only they are giving access to the data. So that's good. But yes, we need to give some suggestions here to improve this. Unique security key is allocated for each client device. So you are giving a security key also, but the security key can be shared with others. Okay, we'll see that in detail. But as of now, they are giving a unique security key to its client devices. Means if a client is using 10 devices, for each device, there will be a unique security key. On this security key, we need to see if this is confidential. If people can come up from the client place, they know the security key and they access the data, then how will NC Tech control the unauthorized access to the data? So we may add on a suggestion here. These keys should be unique and they should be kept as secret at the client place also. Next, application layer. What is happening at the software side? The application layer relates to the software we use to provide services to our clients. That means NC Tech's software. What are the manuals or regulations related to this software which NC Tech uses? This includes the IaaS operating system as well as the varied applications used by our clients. The application layer enables the whole system to function effectively and securely within prescribed operating parameters. Security controls which they apply to application layer. All client application need to be checked, formally approved and registered to prevent the use of unauthorized and unsafe software applications on the IaaS system. So nothing related to virus protection. And then what about the IT staff? They can also compromise the softwares, no? They can have unauthorized access, they can give unauthorized access to people. That means here a suggestion came in my mind. Their applications, they are checking, they are formally registering the applications. But what if an employee, he interrupts and he introduces a virus in the application or the software? That means we need to suggest something here. Okay, the last layer, the data layer. Client data held and processed on our system is the most likely target for cyber attacks. Definitely, data is going to be attacked. So the integrity of client data must be fundamental purpose of our security measures. Any data loss will erode client trust in our business model and could result in a significant downturn in business activity, with the consequent deterioration in financial performance. Data breaches could also expose the company to regulatory fines and other legal sanctions. Oh, that means if a data breach happens and the client's data gets stolen, then a regulatory fine plus any legal consequences can also arise. So security controls applied for this layer: firewalls to control the flow of incoming and outgoing data on the IS system. Got it? The firewall which was not working for them. Anyways, vigorous procedures to ensure the secure access and integrity of client data held on the IAS system. That means procedures are being developed to see if the client data carries the integrity and is secured. If data has got a virus, or with the data a virus enters in the system of NC Tech, it can actually break down the whole system. So that is fine. The data layer will protect any virus getting introduced into the systems of NC Tech. This is the correct thing which they are doing. Now, let us start forming the answer. We need to first evaluate the 4 security layers. That means the answer has to have a heading of human layer, then the perimeter layer, then we need to talk about the application layer and data layer. The first thing, you need to have that heading in place. Remember, it is a briefing paper. So briefing paper's format should be chosen. A small introduction must be given. I will start the answer from here. Give a small introduction about what the briefing paper is on. So the briefing paper discusses the 4 layers of the IT security which NC Tech is using to keep its IT system secure. Got it? So, but. Briefing paper is evaluating those IT security controls, but seeing the data breach which happened in the past, the briefing paper will also involve some recommendations to strengthen the existing controls to avoid any future breach of data. Okay? Because you are going to discuss 2 things. Your introduction of the briefing paper must also cover these 2 things, that you are going to do some evaluation in the briefing paper, plus you are going to recommend improvements also. That should be your introduction. Introduction means you are going to cover evaluation plus recommendation. Okay, now let's come to the main body of the question. The first heading will be human layer. Let's evaluate the human layer first. Give a small briefing about the human layer. What human layer involves? The human layer consists of people who are working with NCT, be it employees such as the employees as well as the clients, to carry integrity and safety and understand the technology in use, right? So what will I write? Human layer includes the people working with NC Tech, be it employees or parties working from outside. These parties can be clients, such as clients. Okay, it includes these people, right? Now the next thing, we need to talk about these 2 things which they follow as a security step. Discuss something related to it. as covered under the IT manual. Refer to the exhibit that you are using the IT manual. As covered under the IT manual, access control procedures become very relevant. Access control procedures now suggest something such as passwords, password protected systems, or more refined access procedures like retina recognition to access the systems. Okay, just giving small brief so that you can structure them in the sentences. I am just using the keywords. Okay, so the control procedures such as password protected systems, more refined access procedures like retina recognition to access these systems is likely to create a secured environment for the data in NCT. Okay, so is likely, you are analyzing, will it work? Yes, it will work. It is likely or expected to give a secured space for data for NC Tech clients. It is going to provide a secured space for the data of NC Tech clients. So the first thing, when the access is only given after proper authorization, that means it is going to control some data leakages. Okay, but when you are analyzing, always highlight if there can be any problem also. Do not just keep on praising. When it is human layer, there can be instances of security lapses because human tendency can involve some mistakes, human errors, which can lead to security lapses, right? Mention this, but being human layer, it has chances of violations resulting from human error or deliberate attempts of unauthorized access. Okay, this is showing that you understand the practical problems associated with any particular item. Human layer means there is a scope of human error, there is a scope of humans deliberately invading the systems or trying to leak the data, right? So you are highlighting that human error can be there, which can lead to loss of data of client. Got it? One is this. Number two, now talk something about the compulsory training. Giving training to the employees on technical part is definitely a good step to ensure the safety of the IT security, or maybe to safety of the IT systems or the data of the client. So training is perfect. Staff training is very crucial so that staff follows the protocols. Now, can we do a recommendation here itself? Yes. So you write something on the training part. On the training part, we say it's definitely ensures or enhances compliance of systems. Okay. See, I'm not writing complete sentences just to save time. Compulsory training ensures or enhances compliance of procedures. Now, let us recommend one more thing. Regular checks or audits, IT audits can also assist in analyzing any loopholes in the existing security procedures. Okay, so this is a recommendation which you are giving. Just a sec. Okay, so this is the suggestion which you are giving, that IT audit maybe can be of use here. You can regularly check regular checks done by the senior management or senior employees who are dedicated with the task of regular checks, random checks. Okay, random and regular checks. Random checks by the senior officials. Or IT audits can assist in checking if the existing security procedures are good as per the current situations. Got it? So this is what analysis you have done, plus you have recommended a course of action here itself. Now let us talk about the second layer, the perimeter layer. Now explain a bit what is the perimeter layer in your own words. The outer layer, where this is the outer layer where the clients connect and gain access of their data on NCTEX applications. So small briefing of what this perimeter layer is. Give a small briefing of what this layer is. Okay, now then talk about these two security controls one by one. External client devices need to be registered and authorized. What if they are registered, authorized to gain access, but the person is not authorized to gain access? Getting the point? Perimeter layer will control the access of the system, but it cannot control the access done by an unauthorized official of the client. That's the problem here. So you can recommend here that the external client device, getting registered and authorized client device is a good step to avoid unauthorized devices accessing the data stored on the NCTEC cloud. That's fine. Discuss about that. However, even the client devices can be registered and authorized. It still can leave a chance of an employee's unauthorized access to these systems. Okay, this is the problem we are highlighting. However, an employee's unauthorized access can lead to data breach even if done from an authorized system. Means he can do that. Anyone can come through an authorized system, but he may not be an authorized person to access the data, right? So this still leaves a problem here. The system can be authorized, but maybe the person is not authorized. So here you can give this suggestion here. Number 2, unique security key is allocated. So unique security key will enhance security definitely. This security key must also be upgraded from time to time. This security keys updation is the need. Upgradation and updation of security key is needed. Another thing, security key, even if you are upgrading and updating from time to time, it must be handed over only to the people who own the responsibility of the security key. I mean, if you are creating a security key for a device, again, you should ensure you are a part of NCTEC. As NCTEC people, you need to ensure that the device, the security key, which is device based, it must be handed over to the senior management of the client, and they should be told clearly that the security key must not be shared by people across the organization. They should not share it from here and there. For example, there is device number 112 in the client place. Now the client need to sensitize this. The employees must be told clearly that the security key must not be shared with other people, even in the organization. 112 device security key must not be given to any other device. Maybe 215. That's a different device. Now, this device key is being shared to someone else. You don't have to share the device key. Anybody can use your device key to access the system. So this device key should also be given to someone who should keep the device key, security key, as a confidential element with him. Okay, so that is another thing which you can add on here. Then comes the application layer. In the applications, they're doing really well. Now, again, give an introduction of what this application layer is, or small brief introduction or a small brief about the application layer. Then, what security controls have they applied? The client's applications are properly checked, approved, and then registered. Here, what you need to do is the client applications will definitely create a safe environment for the data. But when we talk about applications and softwares are always prone to viruses, right? So whatever measures we use to keep under security controls under application and software controls, use those here. Virus protection, regular upgradation, then regular check if the updated version is being used. That you can recommend. So definitely this will give better protection. But now what recommendation will you give? Regular software updating. You see that on your devices also. This is what you are going to do here. Regular upgradations, then virus protection. Then you can block some websites also which are more prone to viruses, right? Protection from outside or suspicious websites or web pages to avoid any virus attack from outside. These are the recommendations which you can do here. Now the data layer, again, give a small introduction of what the data layer is all about. Then, what are the security controls you have applied for data layer? One, firewalls. Definitely firewalls are perfect. Regular checkup of firewalls is essential now. Suggest that the firewalls must be regularly checked if they are working. Okay, because your firewall didn't work since long. So regular checking of firewalls to ensure that they are working efficiently. Okay, or to the full capacity. Then vigorous procedures to ensure the secure access and integrity of client data held on the IaaS system. This is fine, but when you are talking about the client data, ensure you are keeping the data at a safe place, you are keeping regular backups, then where this data is stored, that storage, the backups where you are keeping the backups, that should be a secured place. So mention backups. Then proper storage of these backups, storage of backup material. This, wherever you are storing this backup material, this storage space should also be taken care of. I mean, let's suppose a client data is kept on a hard disk, let's suppose, and this hard disk is kept in an office which is prone to a lot of termite problem in the whole office. This termite can damage your backup. Okay, so do not keep the backup in a place which is prone to another risk which can arise. Okay, so this is on, we have recommended also, we have discussed if these steps will work or will not work, and if they will not work, then why? And if some improvement is needed, why that improvement is needed, and what this improvement will add on to your security levels. Okay, so this is just to give you an idea on this first part, task 1. Now for the rest of the tasks, I will create bullets only so that you do not confuse when I am writing too many sentences. It actually may confuse you what to write, what not to write. You have to write in your own words, But about what you need to write, that we'll discuss in the upcoming tasks. Till here, do practice it. We'll catch up after in the next session for the upcoming tasks. But here, till here, you need to note down that the examiner looks for the correct approach. What is the examiner asking? You need to answer that. Your discussion should cover the points which the examiner has given you as an information, plus something new which you have understood, plus what you would like to suggest. Okay, do ensure that you are following these approaches, and then it should be manageable and the answers should flow in the perfect direction for you. We'll catch up with the next parts, next tasks in the next session.